好，大家好，我係 Benjamin， 咁係 Pure Storage 嗰邊嘅。咁我哋而家就開咗喺 waiting room 入嚟嘅 guest 㗎啦。咁大家可以等多一陣，我哋可能等多1-2分鐘，我哋就開始我哋嘅 webinar。
Hello everyone, welcome to this live webinar using artificial intelligence to thrive in challenging times. My name is Stephen Leung. I am the head of sales for ClusterTech. I'll be doing the opening introduction. So here is the agenda for today. So this is the opening introduction, and today we'll be talking about how to make use of end-to-end AI and data science solution and frameworks to realize the organization's AI field ambitions. Also, how deep learning and GPU processes replace legacy approaches and accelerate. And also, today we'll be introducing the use cases of AIRI, the world's first full-stack AI-ready infrastructure. So before we dive into that, we introduce a little bit about ClusterTech. ClusterTech is a company based out of Hong Kong. We are headquartered in Hong Kong Science Park. We are an IT solution consultancy company, and we specialize in advanced computing solutions. We are a company of over 210 professional staff, and many of us have advanced degrees in different areas. And here are the 4 areas that we focus on, and on today we'll be talking mostly about high performance computing and AI and analytics. In terms of our own HPC offerings, here are the things that we do. Number 1, we do HPC system deployment for HPC applications. In terms of that, we start from the very beginning of consultancy, design, implementation, and sometimes we also do support of certain systems. Number 2, we also help our customers do GPU computing deployment for AI and machine learning. In some cases, we help them port their existing HPC applications over to GPU and also tune the system so that they can take full advantage of the system. Number 3, we do flexible HPC cloud for R&D. We provide that kind of service for ad hoc needs for certain customers. And for number 4, we offer HPC software support. Certain customers outsource their long-term support of their production systems to ensure that they can use their systems all the time. So here is a partial list of our HPC clients in Hong Kong, and as you can see, some in mainland China. As you can see, there are quite a number of government departments and also universities. And you can see that there are also different types of applications as well. Some are related to weather, environment, some are running CFDs, and some are doing DNA sequencing, and etc. So these are, and also some financial institutes are using our service. Today, as you can see, we're one of the co-hosts, and we also have our partners as our co-hosts as well today, namely NVIDIA and Pure Storage. So here, I'm here to explain the synergy of these 3 companies. So basically, we've formed this partnership to provide turnkey HPC solutions. ClusterTech is a local professional service provider with 20 years of experience in HPC and AI. NVIDIA is the inventor of GPU, And now they are also the creator of computational technology for HPC and AI applications. Pure Storage is the maker of all flash storage to deliver the best data experience for HPC and AI applications. As you can see, everything fit together to provide you with the right solution. So today, we have 4 speakers. The first person is me, so I don't need to introduce myself anymore. My colleague, Dr. Kinson Chang, he is our senior system architect. He is the HPC expert with many years of experience. He is a PhD of computer science from University of Hong Kong. And then from NVIDIA, we have Mr. Samuel Low with us. He is the general manager responsible for enterprise business for Hong Kong and Macau. He helped establish NVIDIA AI Technology Center in Hong Kong, and it is one of the 11 such centers in the Asia Pacific region. He's here to accelerate the adoption of AI in different industries and areas in academia and so on. And prior to joining NVIDIA, he worked for Oracle Sun and SGI. Our last speaker, Mr. Rajesh Nair, he is based out of Singapore. He is from Pure Storage. He's the sales director Asia for unstructured data. He is an accomplished technologist for 20 years, supporting a lot of digital initiatives in the Asia Pacific region. And he worked for Salesforce.com, BMC Software, CA Technologies, etc. before joining Pure Storage. So here we hope to bring you a lot of experience, and we'll be talking about how we do the solution together. So before I pass it on to my fellow speakers, I am going to talk a little bit about the market trend that ClusterTech and our partners have observed. Namely, this is the HPC AI convergence. Traditionally, HPC is mainly about computationally intensive applications like weather forecasting, CFD, etc. Now, AI is coming to HPC. So a lot of the AI problems are becoming big enough that they need to apply a lot of the techniques that we have been using in HPC area. From Gartner 2020 CIO Agenda Survey, here are the things that the report talked about. Leading organizations expect doubling the number of AI projects in place within next year. 40% of them plan to actually deploy AI solutions by the end of 2020. So yes, you can imagine AI is a super hot topic. So I believe quite a number of the attendees here are probably looking for solution for their AI projects as well. And there is a gap based on the survey. Most organizations struggle to scale the AI pilots into enterprise-wide production, thus limiting the ability to realize potential business value. Actually, in the last few years, we also experienced a lot of interest, and we have done quite a number of AI pilot projects for our clients as well. We're waiting to see that they turn AI projects into large production ones as well, but it's not easy. Now, at the same time, here is what we does discover, that the data scaled in AI solutions needs to attain a certain critical mass to become usable in business, demanding higher performance on the infrastructure. So as you can imagine, when we talked about the gap and also the data scale, this is a chicken and egg problem. So sometimes they don't know how to scale up the AI pilots, but at the same time, when there is not enough the data in the AI solutions, is hard to justify. So I can see that a lot of companies are struggling with that. Now, without further ado, I'm about to pass it on to the next speaker, Samuel. But before that, we'll do a little bit of polling.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. It's very good to have this partner, and thanks, Stephen, for the introduction. And it's good to have this partnership with that as well as Pure Storage. In fact, Pure Storage is our global partner. We work quite some time in helping to to building up the AI infrastructure for a lot of data center projects across the globe. And ClusterTech, in fact, is also our local partner when we start our center in Hong Kong. And yeah, we have they also just like Stephen mentioned, they are very strong in HPC and deliver working a lot of this HPC project in Hong Kong in different industries. And we look forward to work closely with both of them in terms of helping our audience here. When you jump into the AI journey, how the GPU accelerated your HPC application. So today I would like to share with you three things. First, what NVIDIA is doing, our focus, and especially in the AI, machine learning, deep learning, data analytics, as well as high performance computing. And second, I would like to share with you our hardware and software stack focused on those domains. And last but not the least, I will talk about what NVIDIA's resources globally or locally, how we can support our developers as well as our enterprise when they want to kickstart any AI or HPC project on the road. Okay, so let's talk about our design philosophy. We are a 25 years old company, and we released our first GPU on 1999. Okay, so when you talk about the IT industry, we first thing coming to my mind or everyone's mind is CPU. CPU is very a core component supporting the computation on the road. But when times go on, more data, more complex infrastructure, that CPU needs something to help to accelerate, and then GPU is in place to help accelerate computing. So NVIDIA, we start our journey in 1993. We developed our first GPU on 1999, and then GPU in the market get adoption, and more and more researchers, like to use GPU to help them to accelerate the application in every domain. Okay, and in fact, in May, we also announced after we acquire Mellanox. Okay, we also announced our new roadmap and strategy on data center platform in AI, machine learning, deep learning, data analytics, as well as HPC. We call it DPU, data processing unit. Okay, so across the 25 years journey, we come across one thing. We build up a lot of the stack in both hardware as well as software, and come to the data center scale. We also believe one architecture is very, very important across the line and across our entire journey, so that when developers, they can easily jump into our research ecosystem, and they want to scale, they still stick on the same architecture and scale their data center as well as the application. Okay, these are the focus area NVIDIA's when we deploy our data center platform. Okay, of course, artificial intelligence, machine learning, AI, data analytics, and also the HPC. HPC also includes simulation and visualization. And you can see here, those are the quite familiar name, I believe, if you are in that domain. And the bottom line here, the cuDF, cuML, cuGraph, in fact, is the kind of API NVIDIA developed, those library and API supporting that domain and using the GPU as acceleration platform. And on the platform side, of course, we have the desktop. for our developers to get started their development. We can also deploy on-prem on a data center solution. And in terms of an AI, when you deploy in the edge or inference, you can also have the accelerated platform to doing that. And later on, I'll also talk about our AI supercomputer, the DGX platform, so that you know how, a big jump helping our to resolve a lot of the challenges today. And again, we also support every cloud platform to deploy those edge and inference solution. So this is our data center platform grouping. On the bottom side, you can see all these hardware, GPU, network switch, all are the back-end infrastructure. And on next to it is the server and storage platform. As you can see here, we work with every our OEM partners, as well as we also develop a purpose-built AI platform called the DGX. Okay, now is the come to the third generation, the DGX A100. Later on, I will our friend from Pure Storage, Rajiv, will also talk about some of our joint success in deploy the AI infrastructure with DGX plus Pure Storage solution. Okay, of course, we also support every cloud service platform here, like Google, Microsoft Azure, as well as AWS and Tencent, Alibaba, you can name it. And on top of it, you can see all those library API, like CUDA, like in the networking storage security solution. We also have a Docker, Magnum IO, and next to it is deployed in different domains, like in the data analytics area, machine learning. We have the Rapids as well as the XGBoost. For the AI training and inference, those are the more familiar name, you can name it. And in terms of high performance computing, okay, NVIDIA also developed an HPC SDK. With today, I believe there's already around 600 plus application in the HPC area get accelerated under the GPU platform. Of course, the rendering and visualization, we have all this index and optics X here. And on top of it, okay, you'll see NVIDIA ourselves is a cheap semiconductor company, but on the other hand, we spend a lot of our engineering time to develop our software stack with different SDK. On top of that, we also have our industry focus to some industry domain we believe is driving the AI revolution. Like in most of the country today, they are talking about smart city, and NVIDIA, we have the Metropolis initiative. We have our research lab driving all these IBA, as well as, the inference application. And conversational AI, another very hot topic today. Jarvis is the SDK to support that domain as well. Autonomous vehicles, we have the NVIDIA Drive to working with a lot of the car manufacturer like Mercedes, Volvo, previously Tesla, or Toyota. They are all our autonomous vehicle partners. And recommendation system, today a lot of this internet service provider like Tencent, Google, Facebook, they also develop their recommendation system, and NVIDIA already have this Merlin available for them to speed up their application development. As well as healthcare, we also have our Carer platform. So on top of it is all those application development from our ISV, staff company, or in-house team from the enterprise. Okay, now we switch to talk about more focus on the hardware and software platform. Okay, this is a kind of a grouping. Okay, on the left-hand side, you can see the data analytics and training. Those are the name application in the market that focus in that domain development. And what NVIDIA is doing is all this green box. Okay, we have the CUDA X AI, CUDA and Magnum IO to speed up and shorten the time of development. On the inference side, we we mentioned NVIDIA spent a lot of engineering time to develop a this toolkit library SDK to support the developers in the inference part. Like we have these pre-trained models, we also have this transfer learning toolkit, so that when developer try to develop their AI model, that they can use this pre-trained model from NVIDIA, then they can just refine it and use it and deploy it. And we also have a Tensor Inference, Triton Inference Server. That is another framework how to speed up your inference outcome, to speed up like the throughput, like the latency. They help a lot without changing any algorithm or coding. Okay, TensorRT server is another API helping to speed up. So on the right-hand side, you also see a lot of different names. In fact, those are the application framework I just mentioned. When you talk about driving the Metropolis, we also have this IVA, Intelligent Video Analytics framework being ready. Like in the recommendation area, we have this Merlin available, and Jarvis is focused on conversational AI. ISAC SIM is kind of a robotics, helping on the digital twins, helping you to train up the robot, doing this factory automation and predictive maintenance. Drive is definitely focused on the autonomous vehicles, and Kara is a kind of a smart hospital initiative, helping you to drive this hospital application on the way. So, okay, I will not go into detail on each of these framework and application, and as well as SDK, but just to show you, share with you some of the performance gain if you use the SDK like the transfer learning toolkit. You can have up to reduce 10 times of your development time and speed up on your training time, because zero code approach, domain adaptability, those are the features helping our developer to speed up their training. Triton Inference Server, like I just mentioned, is also help you to, when you do the inference purpose, is optimize your throughput utilization and minimize your resources. Jarvis is another SDK application framework helping you to develop a lot of this customer service chatbot when you deploy your call center. Today, that is an order like if you use any smartphone, Siri is one of these, assistant helping you, and Jarvis is, one step ahead. You can combine both computer vision as well as, the NLP speech recognition technology into one single platform. You can also see here, if you want to try it, to sign up. Okay, there's the website. You can easily to go and sign up an account and download the SDK for trial. MAXINE is another SDK we just announced, because of enterprise today, their staff are work from home. So we just have built up this SDK, and a lot of this cloud service provider already adopt, like the features, to minimize your throughput, to do the phase alignment, to denoise some background noise, and to upscale your resolution. Those are the features of MAXINE. Okay, AI inference definitely is a very complicated challenge when you deploy. So NVIDIA, we develop every of these building block, like I just mentioned, Jarvis, Triton Inference Server, CUDA-X, to help you to modularize your application development and speed up your application development as well. Some of the use case, like we work with Microsoft. Okay, there are Microsoft Office already, adopt NVIDIA AI platform to minimize, the response time, as well as the lower their cost in terms of 1/3 compared to the CPU deployment. Another use case in the finance sector, American Express also adopt NVIDIA AI, our entire platform, to do the fraud detection, as well as prohibit some of the cybercrime. And when we talk about, all these, response and tracking are very close to real time. I think that is very important to the finance fintech market. And recommenders, as just mentioned, a lot of the internet service provider provide a lot of this personalization engine, and a lot of them already adopt NVIDIA's AI platform like Tencent. They already adopt NVIDIA Merlin onto their internet service platform. Okay. Yeah, I just previously I mentioned DGX A100 is our 3rd generation purpose-built AI HPC platform. Okay, I will not talk more, as I know Rajiv, our friend from Pure Storage, will come up a turnkey solution how NVIDIA and Pure Storage to build and the AI infrastructure with our DGX A100 with their Pure Storage solution. So I'll let him to share more information as well as some of the use case. Okay, some of the performance we break using, when we deploy the DGX A100, okay, in some AI performance benchmark, like in the recommender, like NLP, translation, those are the benchmark for among those commercially available systems. We are top in the 16 records in AI performance. So, okay, come up to a lot of, the question from when I deployed HPC cluster course, definitely is one of the big issue. So these pictures, you can easily compare. On the right-hand side, this is the DGX A100 deployment with 16 nodes. And on the left-hand side, same performance equipped with 22 rack of 350 CPU server. So you can see from the price cost perspective is 1/7. In terms of the power consumption is 1/3. So you see in the total ROI, definitely moving to the GPU platform will save a lot of the power in terms of CapEx as well as OpEx. This is one use case. We developed our SuperPort, using around 280 nodes of DGX A100. It's commercially available system, and immediately, if you're familiar with the top 500 ranking, is already in the number 7. In terms of the MLPerf, we just show you the figures. We are in number 1, and the Green 500, we are in number 2. The most important part is we build this architecture and the entire system in production for only 3 weeks. Another example use case from our Argonne National Lab, they are the first DGX A100 with 24 nodes. They are focused on fighting COVID-19 research. Okay, I will skip this a bit because I think my time is quite close to end. NGC is a kind of like, if you use your smartphone, you know what's the App Store, okay? NGC is NVIDIA GPU Cloud. It's the kind of enterprise App Store, okay? That means everything you need from container, Docker, the pre-trained model I just mentioned, those framework, AI, HPC, application, SDK are all under this framework, this portal. You can easily just sign up an account, and then you can tour the catalog, and you can feel free to download any Docker image you would like to test, you would like to try. Okay, last but not the least, I will talk about what NVIDIA resources, okay, for the local community and our enterprise. Okay, we have 4 areas here. Deep learning, training, inception program for startup, developer conference annually, and also our tech center. Okay, deep learning, of course, we have our online courses and classroom courses. Both are focused on some fundamental training as well as some industry specific. Inception, NVIDIA also support our startup ecosystem. Today we have over 2,000 deep learning startups in this partnership. Developer conference, every year we have our developer conference. Last one is in May. We announce our latest technology. We also invite speaker developers to share their best practice and also their offering in this AI, machine learning, data analytics, as well as HPC area. This is our developer forum by different industry domain. You feel free to come into this developer forum, sign up, as well as you can get whatever documentation you need. Okay, so last but not the least, I just have two last slides. One to show you what NVIDIA is doing supporting the HPC market. All the name here you are familiar, Facebook, also Microsoft Research. They are also one of the top 500 members. Okay, and the last one, the enterprise business today. A lot of the enterprise in different industry already adopt DGX platform to build the AI infrastructure, like in the university, hospitals, bank, manufacturing, and so forth. Okay, so this is about my presentation. I think we also have a poll, and later on, I believe we also have some Q&A session in case you have some more questions to us and our partners here. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Samuel. While waiting for the next speaker, Rajesh, to come online, and please start working link that I launched it. And also, if you have any questions about ClusterTech, about Samuel's presentation or Rajesh's presentation that is coming up, please send a chat box to me, and then we will answer the question at the end of the Q&A section. So our next speaker is Rajesh from Singapore.
Are we good to start, Simon? Stephen?
Yes,
Can you hear me?
please go ahead.
Okay. Hey, good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for your time, and I'll continue the journey where Stephen and Samuel started off with talking about AI and how it's changing in terms of digital transformation. My focus would be how we can accelerate this innovative thing during this challenging time. So how we can leverage smart and simple AI infrastructure to drive into this ecosystem, right? So what you heard from Samuel is that AI is not just about the whole industry, right? Specific industry. It's around all verticals, whether it's talking about autonomous vehicles, or you're talking about farming, or even healthcare, right? It's across all industries that you see, right? And this digital transformation has actually taken up pace in the last 1 year, where it's not just about how things are moving in the fast pace in the digital transformation and how people's lives are changing, but with this pandemic that happened last year and this year, we've seen a lot of digital transformation and businesses changing and evolving in a different way, right? And this one single year has seen so much of evolution and changes, and I think it'll change in a much faster pace than we did in the last 5 years. So if you look at the Big Bang theory of intelligence, right? We talk about 3 key technologies that has come together in a single point, like a perfect storm, right? Whether you talk about parallelism, new parallel architecture with compute technologies, or you talk about new algorithms that has come with deep learning, maybe neural networks or others, and then availability of data, right? In such a quantum and a lot of data that's available now, we like to call it the new oil economy, right? This has actually made a shift in the way things operate in this digital transformation age, right? If I'd like to quote here how Andrew Gung, who's a luminary in field of AI, says, right? So in terms of traditional ML, if you look at the learning algorithms, they used to say more data, better accuracy. But that linearity seems to decimate, right, as you get more and more data. So after a point, it just saturates. Like you see this red line going around, it doesn't add value. But the AI method of deep learning is actually allowing that to explore better, right? So more the data, the more linearity and the more intelligence and more things you can get out of it, right? Which means it also brings in quite an interesting fact of how we look at data, right? While data is good, it also brings in a lot of challenges. Challenges in form of how business looks at it, right? So if you look at this, 97% of organizations are facing data challenges, and these top challenges that you see are largely with whether it's security challenges, speed of access, right, cost, right, of storage, which is big, and also ease of access of this data and governance of data, right? So those are few things that bring on a big challenge in terms of data, right? But that's not all, right? If you look at infrastructure by itself, right, there's tremendous innovation that's happened in compute, right? The compute business or compute innovations have grown about 10x times. And then you look at algorithms. The algorithms model and evolution has progressed 15x times to what it was 2 years back. But if you take the same analogy for storage, the SSD and the disk performance has only improved 20% over the last 2 years. So what does it mean, right? While there is massive parallelism that has come with algorithms and compute, that same thing hasn't affected with the storage technology. NFS, SAS, SATA protocols are decade old, right? Even the newer object store that has come with SSDs are retrofitted in the old decade old, stack, which means you will hit the bottleneck, right, as the serial portion of the stack goes, right? The gap between compute and storage is ever growing, right? Which means while compute is fast and innovative and it's demanding more, data, storage simply are not able to, match that pace, and it's slowing that, compute that you buy, right? High definition compute that you buy, right? Just look at the AI, pipeline. If you look at the AI pipeline, the training, which is on the, right side of the screen, right? It's all just 30% of 30 to 40% of the whole pipeline, right? Spent, but most of the people focus on training, right? And infrastructure that's required for training, right? However, this whole pipeline and importantly, if you look at industrial gateway, right, or industrial channel, it doesn't start only at when you assemble things. It has to start from the factory assembly, has to start from beginning to finish, right? So if you look at where you inject data, that's already a huge amount of data that's injected and stored. But when you come to clean and transforming data, which is done mostly in most organizations using CPU servers, you again have to copy and transform that data into a different storage. And as you move across to the exploration stage where the GPU technology starts taking over, you again have to copy and transform that data to be able to move on, which means what you're doing is you're duplicating a lot of data and it's creating a bottleneck in your AI pipeline, right? So what you need is an end-to-end industrial strength, right, for whole AI data pipeline. Now, if you look at the storage itself, what do you need from an AI perspective, right? While you need high bandwidth sequential access pattern, you also need high concurrency small file, access patterns as well, right? What does it mean? You need both small and large file to be managed, and most legacy storages only are built to manage large files, right? So in a very simple term, what you need is a truck that can manage the capacity to carry large files, right, and have a high bandwidth, but at the same time have fast car, which is linear and provide that high performance for random access, which is inherently required for deep learning. If that analogy makes sense, and you put that back to what we talked about, the whole AI pipeline, you look at the left, which is the injection side of it. You're talking about how sequential, right, and high latency is where it starts, and then it starts moving to the CPU, where it's still sequential and high volume, but as you move to explore and train, it becomes a random and high concurrency requirement. And that's where FlashBlade comes in, which meets, right, and designed for ideal for AI data hub kind of technology, which delivers high performance for all data needs across the AI pipeline, right? Now let's look at AI pipeline from the core infrastructure perspective. So it's not just on the data storage side of it. There's also a lot of other things required to run this pipeline, right? You may run it in, earlier in VMs, but now with containers and like Dockers and Kubernetes and things like that. You also have a lot of other metadata, which is messaging queues, or you're looking analytics with Juniper, right? Jupyter notebooks, or you are having structured data and cluster monitoring and things like that. That also requires a lot of storage at the node level, right? Which means you're again duplicating a lot of data or creating inconsistencies. With a shared storage like FlashBlade with a data hub, you can actually transform this into a whole pipeline, right? And align this well with this transformation. Yeah. So what's FlashBlade, right? So if you look at the FlashBlade platform, right, it's industry's more advanced, fast file and object storage platform, right, which delivers high performance for all data, right? Whether it's starting with the blade where your processor happens, we come with different computes and we can scale up from 7 blades to 150 blades quite seamlessly. We support a lot of protocols out here, and we also deliver the performance with massive parallelism, which starts with 15 GB per second bandwidth for a full single chassis, and can scale up as we add more blades and more chassis into the equation, right? Also, we can look at the whole 150 blade single cluster, right? We can do about 24 million IOPS on an FS, right? And if you look at the compute, the power that we use, it's just 1850 for a fully loaded chassis, right? Watts. So if you look at all of this, it gives you the speed of a sports car, but also give you the capacity, right, that you require from a truck in one single platform. And that, I'll take this opportunity to pivot into AIRI, right? So as we started off saying, we're going to introduce AIRI to you. It's industry's first complete AI infrastructure. It's a joint architecture designed by NVIDIA and Pure Storage, and it's built on the NVIDIA DGX with Pure FlashBlade storage in there, right? It also has Mellanox for the networking and things like that. So it's a complete, you look at this as a complete stack and AI ready infrastructure where you can just plug this in and start your AI initiative. Yeah. So why did we feel to do this, right? So if you look at DGX A100, right, it's the world's 5 petaflops AI system, right, which delivers 20x performance on generation, right? It provides analytic training, inference, all in one platform, and it manages any workload, any node, anytime, right? So if you look at this, what you need is something that can match that capability, right? So if you look at the NVIDIA that we just spoke about, right, which provides you the performance of what you can get in CPUs with 10 racks on one chassis, right, which means massive parallelism compute, power to build in modern workloads, fastest time to solution, right, and it enhances the productivity of data scientists. You need something at the storage level to meet that requirement also, right? So with FlashBlade, we can actually manage what you get in normal 10 racks of disks, right, with one chassis as well. Okay, which means we give you massive parallelism for storage, we give you purpose-built modern workloads, and it can manage any type of workload, right? It maximizes your GPU that you have utilization with the data saturation that you have. So you get value for the money that you're spending on DGXs as well, right? And it eliminates the storage bottleneck. So whether it's analytics, training, inference, it is a one platform storage for all these needs, right? Remediating the duplication and all that you may have with data. Now, if you look at the scalability side of it, that's again a journey that you can work along, and we can drive with you, because when you start your AI journey, you don't go with a big black box, right? You may start with one DGX or two DGX boxes, right? And that's where we also fit in. As you can add DGXs and scale linearly on GPU compute, you can add FlashBlade blades, right, one at a time and linearly scale, right, with performance and capacity at the same time, right? And that's again a best thing that someone can provide as an infrastructure is linear scalability with ease within your environment. So what's AIRI, right? It's like I said, it's a full stack. Look at it as a full stack, right? It's hyperscale AI made simple for you, right? With NVIDIA and Pure architecting this together, right? It's a multi-node training. It is optimized for the learning frameworks that Samuel spoke about, right? It supports containerization, Kubernetes orchestration, and we come in with Pure service orchestration as well to manage our Kubernetes from a storage perspective as well. And it's scale out flash storage, like we discussed. Most of our prospects would then ask us, right, have you done this jointly anywhere, right? So we have a lot of customers across the region, right? And across industries, whether it's automotive with Zenuity, and I'll talk about that later, but also in financial services and healthcare, spread across all the sectors, right? And we've given them performance and linearity, right, with all these scales. I like to deep dive on a couple of them, and I like to start with something closer to you guys, right? So that's Macau University Science and Technologies, MUST, right? They wanted to do something with AI and deep learning and provide active real-time analytics. And it started off with things like they want to do smart healthcare, smart city, and network security, right? And provide that across the organization, right? With NVIDIA DGX and FlashBlade, they actually could provide high performance computing, providing about 4 petaflops, right? And that helped them to faster stimulate and analyze results, right? Which meant that they can improve the speed of data analytics and they can optimize the resources. But at the same time, they could provide high stability and reliability, which means the researchers can focus on academic research and development rather than focusing on infrastructure, software, things like that, right? The other one is Zenuity, and that's an interesting one with a lot of people talking about, autonomous driving and things like that. Volvo and Autoliv. So for people who don't know about Zenuity, it's a joint venture between Volvo and Autoliv, right? So they are developing this autonomous car, right, which they plan to launch it probably next year, considering the delay that they had this year because of pandemic. But and they are using again the AIRI system, which is a combination of NVIDIA and Pure architecture, right? And what they saw was this helped them to reduce their training time completely, right? Which meant their data scientists were more productive and they could evolve faster in terms of their design and architecture. The other one is from healthcare, right? So if you look at Chang Memorial Hospital, which is Taiwan's largest hospital chain, right? They also wanted to evolve and build, AI in medicine, right? And they're doing a lot of research on COVID-19 as well as recent, right? And their challenges was to be able to extensively do medical image data at a real high speed time so that they can faster analyze critical issues like cancer and things like that, right? But at the same time, security was a big concern, right? And they had a growing demand of AI in medicine. So they wanted to manage that at a scale as well while they wanted performance, right? So again, with AIRI, FlashBlade, NVIDIA DGX, right? They could increase computing efficiency by 7x times, right? Which means they could X-rate their medical imaging analysis and genetic research with 7x times faster, right? At the same time, it provided a single storage for 10 AI servers, right, that they had. So that means that they could scale easily and also provide security and reliability, which was key to them. So in short, what it delivered to them, and you can see the quote on the right, is speed, stability, and security on this platform in a joint architecture with us, right? Now, these are good 3 case studies, and I would like to sum it up from here and talk more about what Pure is, and I'm sure a few of you know about. But Pure is a very young company, right? We just started off in 2009, but we already grown to 1.6 billion revenue as of last year. We are more than 8,000 customers, which have 45% of Fortune 500 companies. We're growing at 23% year on year on total customer base, which means we are adding about, on an average, 1,700 to 1,800 new customers every year. We are evolving. So if you see the milestone chart, we are innovating at a very fast pace, and we are the leaders Magic Quadrant for the last 6 years continuously. Also, our Net Promoter Score, which is given by customer like yours on our performance, on our product, and how do you rate them as a company, right? We are at top 1% of B2B companies. We are scored at 82% with the industry average of 24. So you can see the difference in terms of how our customers value our products and services. So the question is, how do we help you, right? The team in Hong Kong with Benjamin and everyone, the things that we can do is help you expedite this analytical AI with partners like ClusterTech and NVIDIA, right? We can provide you consistent scalable performance through your digital automation, and we can work on a commercial model which are very attractive as a service or as a platform, depending on how you want to take it forward. So with that, I'd like to sum my session and probably call back Steve to take this forward. Thanks, everyone.
So thank you for Rajiv's sharing, and Rajiv, please still stay on the stage. And now we have Q&A sections. And if you have any questions, you can just drop it in the chat box. And I actually got some here. And I would like to start with Samuel.
Yeah.
We have a question here saying, if our company wants to explore an AI project, how to kickstart, and any support from NVIDIA?
Okay. Yeah, thanks for the questions. I think, most of the enterprise, in the market, they're looking for, how AI, is this AI a tool helping their business transformation, helping, to grow their business. I think that is a kind of, a question most challenging them. And in fact, in our experience, okay, the enterprise itself already have their, business workflow. I would say, okay, start any new stuff, new technologies more. First, maybe identify few challenges or pain points from the enterprise itself. Once you have, few pain points, we can come up to have a discussion with all our partners here, ClusterTech and Pure Storage, okay, to start a kind of a POC, proof of concept. The reason why a proof of concept can definitely focus on some, problem, challenges, and our experience can help you to identify those challenges. Is this feasible? Use AI to resolve? Is a high chance to get an outcome? Once we think this is AI can resolve challenges, then we form a team, we form a resource plan, set an expectation and expect the outcome, and then we can have along the line, we set up a timeline with key milestone, okay, to keep track the process to ensure the POC are in the right direction to finally have the outcome. And during this POC, okay, of course we have our partners here, we have our expertise here, but we also expect our enterprise, the enterprise itself, to commit in terms of people, in terms of some funding on some computation, for example. The reason why, because at the end of the day, you want the enterprise itself, your in-house team, to know the entire workflow, to understand the tricks, okay, to develop on the road the solution. And once the outcome meet the expectation, we also count on the team from the enterprise to convince, to scale out, to convince the management, okay, AI definitely is the right approach to help their business transformation, and then convince the management to scale. And then, the entire party can also come into a bigger scope, helping them to identify some bigger challenges and resolve their real-time problem, helping, run their AI journey transformation.
Thank you. Here is the second one. We are looking for more support to start a high-performance computing project. Is this team does provide any support on the infrastructure setup, management, and so on? I think this one maybe ClusterTech Stephen can take this away.
Maybe I let my colleague Kinson to answer this one.
Sure. ClusterTech can get involved in a lot of stages. Of course, maybe the most optimal solution would be you start contacting us at the very beginning, and then we have analytics on the workflow that you want, the problems that you want to solve, and what kind of data and how much data you are going to need to do the computation. And then we can come up with a plan, and then we know that what sort of hardware equipment you want. Definitely is going to be like those DGX, how many DGX you want, and how much, and how many Pure Storage you want, for example. And then sometimes customers already have some investment. For now, we have already heard that some customers already have some DGX already in their data center, and then they may come up with a new problem that they want to solve with their DGX, or maybe they already have a Pure Storage. This is also possible because it is not just for working with DGX, it is also good for other purposes. And then the customer may want to find us to discuss how we can use these resources, existing resources, and make them into a new platform for solving my new problems. And this is also a good chance to talk to us so that we can do some reformation on the cluster environment. And last but not the least, maybe your environment is already in production, and then you need some suggestion or consultation on how to make use of such infrastructure in a better manner. You can also find us because we are always we have the techniques to do some sort of optimizations, and we can also discuss how the existing workflow can be improved. Stephen, do you have any more additions?
I think some of the purpose of working, knowing more about your problem is that like my colleague Dr. Kinson Chen has pointed out, that in the very beginning, if we know your problem, we can give you the best suggestion. And also even on existing systems, sometimes by changing the workflow, you might be able to take full advantage of the infrastructure. And also, we would be able, if you're looking at an expansion of the infrastructure in order to cater for a new application, or just that your application has grown bigger, you need to scale up the application. We would be able to give the right advice, and then we would be able to bring in our partners like NVIDIA and Pure Storage to offer you the best solution.
Thank you. Here's the one for Pure Storage, Wajid. The customer asks is, NVIDIA DGX comes with some storage. Do we still need external storage, or what is the use case? Wajid?
Okay. Yeah, that's a good question, and we get this from few customers, right? And it's interesting as well to answer this, right? So if you remember one of the slides, I spoke about the AI pipeline, and if you looked at that AI pipeline, the data set doesn't get into the the GPU right at the beginning of the pipeline where you're injecting the data, right? And it first runs through CPU in most of the cases and then to the GPU compute. And if you look at that, the AI pipeline requires the data to be copied at each data set and transition through the pipeline, which is where FLASHBLADE delivers a single centralized storage, delivering drastic lower data copying time, right, between storage nodes, right? Plus it provides you with a high performance across all access types and patterns, right? Which means, let's say when you come with DGX A100, it comes with about, if I'm not wrong, and Samuel can correct me, it comes with 8 tensor core GPUs, right? Which supports multi-instance GPU partitioning, which means that you can separate fully isolated jobs and run them on the same DGX A100. Now, if you look at the storage and compute resources to every workload for the smallest of the file, right? That's where DGX can support this unique resources for training, inference, analytics, right? With FLASHBLADE, it can provide that scaling performance for each workload on a unique I/O profile. That's where the AIRI solution with Pure FLASHBLADE and NVIDIA DGX, right, enables scientists to work smarter together by providing a enterprise-grade, infrastructure together, right? So yeah, that would be my answers. I hope that answers it.
And let's also echo what Rajiv just talked about, why we need an external robust storage system come with a DGX platform. In fact, when we first developed DGX platform, it's a kind of what I claimed very earlier, it's a purpose-built AI supercomputer. What it means purpose-built, okay, it means everything is pre-configured, okay, in terms of the CPU, GPU, memory, storage, everything is pre-configured. And another thing is, okay, because of everything is pre-configured, is in a very optimized scenario. Okay, that means every time when the developer they load their data set, they do any training on it, okay, it's optimal. Okay, but on the other hand, every month, because we need to keep the environment more optimal, so every month we will have a firmware refresh to the entire system. That's why we encourage customers when they finish their training or pre-training their model, okay, always transfer to a safe offline storage place in order to secure the security, as well as let the DGX system always maintain their optimized environment.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks. There is another one for Rajesh from Pure Storage. We saw AIRI or FlashBlade supports the latest NVIDIA DGX A100. Do you support the older DGX1 or DGX2?
Yes. So initially, AIRI was built with DGX1s, and then as the newer version and platforms matured, right, and newer DGX came in, we just supported them as it came along. So yes, it does support. And the latest one is DGX A100, so which is certified on that as well.
Okay, I got 2 more. Here's the second last for Samuel. Does NVIDIA conduct any AI training in Hong Kong? And if yes, how to apply?
In fact, in my presentation, I talk about, okay, we have our department called Deep Learning Institute. The Deep Learning Institute is our global BU. They develop the curriculum online as well as some classroom training. In terms of the online training, definitely you sign up an account. In fact, there's quite some fundamental and free AI training on our DLI website. Definitely you can, everyone can sign up and try it. In terms of, okay, the local market, okay, we also work with different service provider, to conduct, the training either in the university, in the academia, research center, as well as with the enterprise, okay? Like we work with the Hong Kong Science Park to conduct some regular AI training. And we also have our certified DLI instructor to deliver those training in some technology specific, like the intelligent video analytics, NLP, multi-data type, and nowadays we also add on more industry specific curriculum as well. Yeah, so definitely, if you're interested in any of this local training, classroom training, yes, feel free to contact us. Yeah, we can arrange and let you know the schedule.
Here's the last one on my hand, and it's for Wajid. Do you support Mellanox switches in AIRI?
Okay, yes, we do support Mellanox, and it's an officially supported platform. We should, like I said earlier, right, we should think AIRI as a solution, as a platform, right, which has the complete stack. It's the NVIDIA DGX, it has FLASHBLADE and enterprise network in there, built in. Yeah.
Thank you. Do you guys have any more questions? No? So anything you want to say, Stephen, or no? Okay, so we end here for our webinar today. Thank you for joining this webinar, and I hope we can provide you valuable information. Hope to see you soon. Bye.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.